Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video I want to dedicate just more like my personal experience when it comes to emulation, gaming and homebrew on the Steam Deck. So I must say that I was super excited to get this a little bit sooner than everybody, because I just want to make the videos and just show you what are we going to get with this. But after like messing around with it for some time, I realized something. I have this thing way too early and there are so many problems with it. I have came across a lot of different problems and it's such a freaking nightmare getting this thing to set up. And oh, by the way, for the people wondering, Bottasera doesn't work as I'm making this video, and maybe in the future that will be fixed, and in my opinion that will be like the ultimate way to play your emulation games, like with inside application or OS that basically have all your games inside. But for now I just needed to do it this way, and I mean like downloading application, setting everything up and just mess around with it. I just want to have like the core experience. How is it if you don't use an application and you just basically get yourself the applications and just grab them from the store, try to slap in your files and just play them like on an Android device or something else. And oh boy, it was an adventure and not a good one, because I was frustrated for a week and I was like the wicked grumpy all freaking day because I couldn't get a lot of stuff to work, and not even forget all the freaking issues I came across, stuff that didn't make any sense, but we're going to talk about it later. I think a lot of you were expecting the Steam Deck is going to be the best affordable handheld, and not to forget the king of emulation, the king of the handhelds. And I must say, like, when you look at it, yep, it is the king. But is it the king that you basically throw out all the other ones that you have bought in the last couple of years or maybe weeks, because they are shitting out so many of these freaking China handhelds? But there are some things that you need to know. So first of all, what kind of games are you going to play? Are you going to play up to PlayStation 1? An RG 350 or Retro Game 350 is just more than enough in my opinion. I can even play some cool games like Quake 1 or Street of Rage Remake. Then we're having like the latest edition, like the Dynamic RG 351V, is a pretty cool piece of technology and even had the option to play some Dreamcast, Sega Saturn and stuff like that. Some will not run perfectly, but it can run a lot of games. But with the Steam Deck, yep, we can push it a little bit further, we can even play games on higher resolutions, but how far can we push this device and what will bring it to the table? Because this Steam Deck is not really portable anymore when it comes to emulation. You need a freaking backpack for this bloody thing. So when the system has been booted up, the first thing that we need to do is going to the desktop mode, basically getting all of the application that we're going to need. What I love about this, and I was very pleased about it, that you don't have like all of the mumbo jumbo to add files through in hard drive when it comes to applications. No, you can basically like go to the Discovery Store, go to the application, we check the games, and there we can find the emulators that I will show you over here. Here we're going to get the applications, then we go to the games, and then we're going to the emulators. And here we can find a lot of good emulators. And like my good friend from the Retro Game Court, Ross, says, like with RetroArch, we can even play up to PlayStation Portable. There is a lot of stuff you can run. You have some side emulators that I'm going to use in this video. So when you're looking at this, it's amazing what you basically can get from the store. So then is the question, how good will it run? Because here we came with a little bit of a problem. And of course we can download a lot of cool stuff, but we're going to talk about that later. Okay, so next up what we needed to do is open up Steam, and we need to implement the programs in Steam itself. Otherwise we cannot boot it and see it and launch it from the Steam OS, or the big picture mode, how you want to call it. And the reason why is quite simple, but also kind of weird, because you need to do this, otherwise you cannot configure the controls on the Steam Deck itself inside of your emulator. So if you have basically like added all of your programs, the games, the stuff that you want, you just click on it and you add programs, and that's it. You add it and you will go back to the Steam OS launcher. Already installed a couple of these emulators, but let's get with the DuckStation for PlayStation 1. Close the Steam and then go back to the gaming mode, or the Steam OS, how you want to call this. And then basically we can boot up our emulator and configure the controls. Because if you're going to boot it up like that and try to put in the controls, it doesn't work at all. So the weird thing is, if you're going to use it in desktop mode, it doesn't work. But the weird thing is, when I'm added it through the Steam OS, I booted it up, I installed it, and sometimes I'm going back to the desktop mode, then I can basically install it. Like, it's such a weird thing, and even my applications freeze here and there. It's such annoying. But let's go back to the Steam OS. Let's boot it up, because I've noticed a couple of problems I'm having with my Steam Deck at the moment. Okay, so I already set up everything, like basically the controls, everything seems to be working now, but let's show some stuff that I had problem with because those things were pretty damn weird. So one of those issues are like if you're going to be in the SteamOS and you want to go out of the game, that's it, like it doesn't go out. It's like stuck on this screen. Okay, so another issue I'm having is when you're trying to play the game or trying to play this emulator booting it up, it takes freaking forever. But sometimes it finally loads up after clicking a couple of times. So I reconfigured all of the controls with the SteamOS, without the SteamOS, and sometimes it doesn't recognize it anyway. But I can tell you, like, I'm completely frustrated with this bloody thing. And yeah, this is like, I'm guessing the case that this is such a brand new product and we're having so many different applications I want to implement in this device, in the SteamOS, and it is not like working at all with my version. And by the way, I updated it to the latest version and tried every single thing. Let's start some testing and let's see what can we do with the device itself, because I think this device still has a lot of potential, including some PlayStation 2 and also GameCube. That, like a lot of systems, we cannot play on the cheap handhelds, and that is basically what this thing makes an absolutely emulation beast, and even maybe on some higher resolution. So let's start with PlayStation 1. I just want to point out, when you're getting into PlayStation 1, you have so many devices that can play this. So you would not like say buy a Steam Deck to play PlayStation 1 games. Yep, you can basically render this on higher resolutions, but I think that is not worth it in my opinion. I think this device is basically like the king when it comes to higher emulation stuff that we cannot play with a cheap device. So when you're looking at PlayStation 1, it runs perfectly on the Steam Deck, and you can even upscale it so that makes the games even look better on this tiny display. I think PlayStation is an amazing platform to play nowadays, and this is just a great addition. But I think when you're looking at all the previous models I've reviewed when it comes to Chinese handhelds, we can play so many ways PlayStation 1. So this is not, like, in my opinion, something special. But next up, Sega Dreamcast, and I just wanted to show you that this device is capable of running it very well. And I think Sega Dreamcast can be playing on cheap devices nowadays, but this can just push it a little bit higher, like nicer resolutions, and that is where you will see when it comes to Sega Dreamcast. It looks amazing, and I think Sega Dreamcast is one of those systems that did age very well when you're looking at retro game console system and games. And when you're going to be upscaling this and playing this on a Steam Deck, it is such an amazing experience. I personally think the Sega Dreamcast is an amazing system, and when you're playing it on a Steam Deck on the go, and you even go to upscale it to higher resolution, it looks amazing. With cheaper devices we can play it sometimes, but it's always going to be like on native resolution, or we need to have some frame skip, you know how it goes. But with the Steam Deck it is no problem whatsoever, and that makes this very interesting. Okay, so briefly went through the N64 emulation part. I just wanted to see how one of my favorite games play on this. And it's not going to be like an extended benchmark, but I noticed like when you're looking at some basic games like Diddy Kong Racing, Blast Corps, like they struggle on, let's say, low power devices sometimes, depending on what you're going to buy, of course. But with a beefcake device like the Steam Deck, we have so much better performance, and I can really enjoy my old school games. If I could get the chance, I want to do some more extended testing on my second channel, but for now I just wanted to try a couple of games just to see how far we can push this device. Okay, so next up I wanted to try some GameCube, and I noticed like when higher resolution have been entered, it's running like crap, and that's a little bit of a bummer, and that is something that we need to live with. But of course, if you want to try the F-Zero GX game, that is like the benchmark for the GameCube, so far I understand. And also my favorite game, but it runs really crappy. So I needed to basically like lower it back to the native resolution and just see how it will run on the Steam Deck then. So next up I wanted to try the PlayStation 2 emulator, and the reason is that I am a big fan of PlayStation 2 in general. I play my original games so much, and I think it's so cool to bring the games with you and even upscale them in higher resolution.
弱っちいおめえらにまずは刀を振るには連続で押す。まずはこれが敵のこれが違う丸ボタンで攻撃するんだ。はっよしはっはっこのはっよしこのはしはっはっよしせいはっはしよしL1 ボタンで前を向くことができるぜ。 Let's do it, come on, let's go! Slow. Hell yeah! Hey, come on, I'll show you how to drive. Y'all motherfuckers gonna pay for this shit. Hurry up, come on, let's get back.
And for me, basically, this is the end game when it comes to testing stuff on the Steam Deck. And there's also a little bit of a thank you to Retro Game Corps. I love his channel, I love his videos, and what I understand of his videos, like Xbox Classic and let's say PlayStation 3 is not very capable running on the Steam Deck. So for me, it doesn't have any point for checking it out. So I would say, like, if you want to see more about that, recommend like checking his video about his emulation and stuff and his experience. The Steam Deck has so much more to offer than your typical Embernic product, but of course you're paying like 4 times the price like the RG 350 or more 5 or 6 times. But it depends a little bit, what are you searching for? Are you searching for an emulation beast for PlayStation 2? Yeah, then you need to have like this beefcake of a device for bringing the PlayStation 2 games with you. But as I'm making this video, this thing has so many problems when it comes to the software, and there needs to be like a lot of people getting this in hand, developers, people in the community that can make this thing absolutely amazing. For example, with Bottle Shera, I already mentioned before. But for now, I just want to give my honest opinion and my experience I had with the Steam Deck when it comes to setting everything up and yeah, when it comes to emulation performance. So despite it is not perfect when it comes to PlayStation 3, Xbox Classic, but maybe in the future, let's say a year later from now, these things will become better and better and better because there are so many people working on the emulators and everything that goes around it. Yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think of this. And yeah, I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.